King that, and yeah, he was saying some racist shit, and then he goes online and is all acting like nice, and I don't know. It's just like he caught this news reporter being racist and shit. But I guess I think like I don't know why I brought that up. I think like the whole race thing is a cover for the class issue. They got us thinking it's a white versus black issue when it's really like rich versus poor. I think that's.
Do you see yourself like when you're looking at the internet? You see, if you notice this rise of the alt-right, like it's over the past few years with Trump, but there's this sort of rise of the alt-right and this aggressive left, and they seem to be clashing. And it's weird when I was looking at, I think it was an Antifa march in Baltimore. I think it was Baltimore or one of these. It began with a B. Was it Baltimore or Barclay or something like that? There was an Antifa march, but you had the Patriots fighting the Antifa, and one side shouting for nationalism, which my country, like my government, is run by nationalists. Like one side's anti-fascist and left-wing, and one side's nationalistic. You seen the nationals fighting the left-wingers, and it's like when I look at my government, they're both. My government is nationalistic and left-wing, which is fucked up. Like if I was standing in that rally, I wouldn't have came what side to fucking join. You know what I mean? It's like you couldn't have that kind of protest in Scotland because we are both nationalistic and left-wing, which is fucking weird, man. It's like it's maybe how they want the rest of the world to be like, I don't know, like proud of your country but willing to accept immigrants and all that at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's weird in Scotland because they want you to be nationalistic and support a national government, and socialist national government, at the same time accept Syrian immigrants over, which kind of contradicts why you're a nationalist in the first place, because you want to preserve your country, and it's a weird one in Scotland.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can add to that? I don't know, again, mate.
I guess they do the same thing here. Like the alt right kind of wants to build a border and all that shit and keep the nationalists out, and the left is more like we need to take in refugees and help other people and all that stuff. So they got the same like thing going over here. I guess yeah. The right is kind of becoming fascist because it's pro corporation and all that. That's what it's become. And then the left is like really socialist. So we're this like socialist fascist country.
But socialism can work to a certain degree. I think socialism's been taken out of context because of like communism and stuff like that. I think it's been demonized in a way, the word socialism, because I live in a socialist state. Like my country's socialist, and we've got NHS, we've got the benefits, kind of like welfare. We've got methadone projects for drug abusers. We've got everything that accommodates like the downtrodden. And in a way, like they say that in societies, to have a successful society, you have to look after the bottom of the pyramid as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of Bill Cooper lately, and he's like really fucking anti-socialist. He bashes on socialism a lot. He says it's going to be the new system of the New World Order and all that. And there's an interesting point where he was actually talking about a guy, like basically a snake oil salesman, charlatan, right? Conspiracy guy who was just pushing bullshit, according to what he was saying. Or no, he's talking about Shirley MacLaine, the fake psychic.
Right.
He was saying she was like a new agey bullshit, but she was like selling a bunch of books. And he was saying, he was defending her right, that like, because he was all like, he thinks if you say like she shouldn't be allowed to make money off bullshit, and I kind of related that to the flat earth, right? Like we kind of give them shit for making money. And he's like, but Bill Cooper had the idea like, if you can make money off an idiot, that's the American way or whatever. And he thought like, you can't really give shit or be mad at them for making money because they're creating a product and people want it, he was saying. So I mean,
well, this is where I think IPS is. He understands this. I think he came into this understanding that like he come in with an idea, and if people fall for it, they deserve to fall for it. If people are stupid enough to want to pay for his product, what he's pushing, well, can shame on them, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? And like he says, that Tim's on his moral high horse. He want to save people from falling, and in a way, it is. It's like you think, why would you want to save these people? Because we've tried, man. Patrick, we tried talking to these people. We know it's like we've tried to help them find the truth, and they're still willing to just keep going towards the lies. And in a way, you feel like just pushing them off the cliff. I mean, and it's, I don't know. It's just like IPS knows this. He knows this, man. Did you see him standing in the mirror in his boxer shorts, man?
No. Thank God, I think. I don't want that image.
Honestly, man, he's like, I don't know what's happened to him. He says he's unflappable and all this shit, man. But there was a video. I can't believe you've missed that, man. He's standing in front of the mirror in his boxer shorts, with his balls hanging out, and he's going, "Look at me. I'm not a woman. My shoulder to hip proportion. Look, and all this." And I'm like, fucking hell, man. Is he actually biting here? Is he really biting and doing this to prove the trolls wrong, or is he just doing this for attention? So like people can see his balls and shit. Like what would be the mindset behind that? Would you do that? Like, if you got accused of being a tranny, would you make a video of you stand in front of the mirror with your balls hanging out, like your skin tight boxers and shit? Like,
a flat earther did accuse me of being a tranny, and I offered to send her a cock pic.
Aye, right. Like you can. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you can be accused of being a tranny, like I can look at you, Pete, and just see right away you're not a woman. You know what I mean?
I do have like man boobs, you know. Maybe
I know, but that's just a beast. That's just what do you call it? What do they call them now? It's not.
I was like a fat kid, you know. I was an emotional eater, so yeah.
Well, it's like
my body was a kid.
They don't even diagnose you as a beast now. Was it obscenely obese or some shit like that? Morbidly. That's it. I'm morbidly, and they have to tie in morbidly obese to it. So what have you? Were you on a show the other night there? I seen you sitting there, but I never heard much from you. Was it Flat Earth Court? Was it last night you were in Flat Earth Court?
Yeah.
And you just sat there like no saying anything, man. What happened?
I don't know. I was like, are we live right now?
Aye, man. Let Isa have it, man. Let Isa have it.
I don't know. Like I created that fucking, or me and Mr. B created Troll Team 6 Discord. And we invited a vet as a joke. Or I was, you know, like, because like they accused the vet of being the leader of Troll Team 6 and called her our troll queen. Mm-hmm. So I invited her as a joke, and I don't know, like me and Mr. B pretty much created it, and Yvette was running FreeChan at the time, and then like FreeChan ran into the ground because Yvette, I would describe her basically as digital cancer, you know, like online cancer. She's like cancer to online communities, right? Because like I don't know, she's just fucking crazy, and she sides with retards all the time for some reason, and like. She's always like complaining about being a victim and shit like that, and like
do you, I don't know. P man, do you think that these people, a lot of these people that are involved in the flat Earth scene, are like rejects from like the old days of 4chan? Can you remember 4chan? Yeah.
I don't remember 4chan, but I think they are rejects.
No, it's like
and junkies too. Like they're all fucking alcoholics or into fucking drugs and shit.
They're all out of their minds. But to me, especially when you look at the Ed channel, actually, to be honest with you, even the Ed Discussions channel, like with that guy, he's got all the sort of anime, he's into the anime, he's into the cute stuff and all that shit, yeah. And that was like a big thing in the 4chan stuff as well. I think the 4chan was good. It was good for like freedom of speech, but I think like child pornography and that was getting in it. That's why it turned shitty. It was getting the way Chenchi got. He started it off with good intentions, just freedom of speech, but eventually people abuse that freedom of speech and then start putting shit like porn and child porn and stuff like that, and it kind of happened in 4chan. You can see it happening here, and it's funny how 3chan, 4chan, 3chan, and I was like, is there a connection here between the two?
I don't know. I heard she hijacked it from Sensi or something is what happened. What's up, DQ?
DQ in the house. How you doing, man? What's up, nigga? Right, I'm going to go for that smoke. I'll be back in a minute, right?
Alright.
I was this like I didn't even think this was even broadcasting. That's what I'm saying. I posted the link and I was going to hit start broadcast after my smoke, and then you appeared. You're like, hey, I was like, how did you get in here? Is it because you're on Google or something? Huh?
You put the link in your chat,
but it wasn't live. Oh, I take it was still live for the last broadcast. Maybe it's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was, man. Aye. Fuck's sake. Right, I'll be back in a minute, man.
It's the same chat.
How you doing, Lou? Lou?
Hey.
How you getting on in your computer game?
Yeah, it depends on which game.
Fallout, man. It's a good game. That's the last game I played.
Well, in survival, not so hot. In the other modes, yeah, it's easy because you can save all the time.
So, what's happened to you in the Flat Earth, man? Have you gave up with them, or are you still trying to go in and combat, get any like?
Yeah, I'm pretty much giving up on them. They don't. I'm not gonna learn anything from these people.
I think you will. I think you'll learn how stubborn humans can be. I think you can learn how dogmatic humans can be. I think you can learn all the shitty sides of like human nature, actually, looking into the Flat Earth. All the worst sides of human nature. And some of the best sides as well, like the fact that people are curious of their kind of existence and stuff like that. That's quite cool, but I think it's more negative aspects of the human nature in Flat Earth. Like the whole groupthink and shit like that. I think it's like a detriment to like people, humans, acting like that way.
Yeah, no, I think so too, but I think the problem that comes from laziness within individuals, like that's encouraged, and it's sort of a laziness within myself to hang around here. And
how's that affected?
Into it, but you know,
would you say this shit's affecting you? I kind of it's easy to say, nah, it's just Flat Earth, it's just a load of shit. But to me, this has been a big part of my life the past 2 years. It's really, and although a lot of people say it's silly, this is really, I don't know, it's haunted me. It's almost been like a curse discovering this Flat Earth.
yeah, it kind of is. One of the first people I told in my real life that I was gonna go, argue with flat earthers online. They said there's nobody in the world that actually thinks the Earth is flat, and I think they were right.
You think they were right? So you honestly believe that no one actually believes it?
Everyone involved in the flat Earth, even everyone in the chat, everyone. I think deep down they really know they're fighting a losing battle, and they know that it doesn't matter if they lose because they're already so helpless. So they're trying. What they're really doing is trying to experiment with, if I yell loud enough, who will turn and look? And I've fallen for it. I've turned and looked.
So you believe that all flat earthers deep down know the Earth's not flat?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Like, I've got to say, I thought that as well. I thought, and some people, I thought they were just, in that moment in their life, they were just a bit confused. But eventually, within a couple of days, they would see the light. But I think some people stay in that state of confusion, like it just perpetuates each day. And Tim's mentioned it, I've mentioned it in the past, there seems to be like a flat earth, like, amnesia. Like they seem to just wipe their minds. Like they could get in a discussion like Iceland. You can hear Iceland fly off court, and Tim Osman will go on and tell him about the rotation of the stars, the eclipses, the phases, and tell him, and Iceland will sit there and agree and say, I'll check that out, I'll research that, and then they open a hangout the next same day like it was like Groundhog Day, like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I wasn't able to hear too much of what P. Mars was saying before.
Right, I'm going to go for a quick break, but you two can just take the stage, man. I'll be back in a minute, right? I say take the stage, but I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm just going for a quick. I was just telling P that I was setting up this hangout. I posted the link to the chat, but I hadn't actually started streaming. I hadn't hit live, and he appeared in my hangout. I was like, "How are you here?" But I think the chat was it sort of lasts for another 10 minutes or something. So I posted the link in the chat, and it was still live. So he's here, but I'll be back in a minute, Lou. Right?
All right. So what don't I know?
About what?
I don't know. I feel like there's a boiling pot of water somewhere in this room, and I just don't want to get splashed by it. It seems like it's needlessly boiling. I mean, do you feel like you are the spirit behind trolling or arguing with flat earthers?
No.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna play yes or no games with you.
Flat Earth is entertainment. It's like people watching like weird ass people. One of my favorites is Will Fabian. He's like cross-eyed and he's got a funny haircut. He's hilarious. And I like to watch authentic intent talk to people. I like to see people's reactions. It kind of reminds me of like Tom Green style comedy.
Authentic intent, something else. I heard he has a mortal illness or something with his lungs, where his lungs will be scarring over his life and it'll eventually kill him. And if that's true, that's really terrible. But
yeah, he's always thinking like, as long as I'm alive, that's not going to happen. It's kind of sad.
You know, I mean, from what I've read about it, it's not gonna be pleasant for him. I don't really want to talk about it. I don't know. I wish him the best in that regard, but man, the kid he's wrong. So and he's having an impact on people outside of his own life. Oops.
All right, fellows, how you doing?
Hey.
Right, Lou, how you doing?
On video.
Okay?
Is that you? Right, I was going to ask you, man.
So,
Anybody
that was on camera
who's got authentic intent on, man? Oh no!
Someday you're not.
That's
and you don't know I was here.
Somebody's got authentic intent on. I ken that voice.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. Right, I was just
on his last video, he got mocked pretty bad, and he like ranked about being mocked, and it's pretty good.
Do you think he's part of some kind of church group or something, P?
Well, I know he's into the Bible and believes in Jesus and stuff. I don't know what church he's affiliated with.
I know he's Achilles' heel because I've watched him a few times. As soon as you ask him about eclipses, he goes, "I don't know. Some things you just don't know." That's it. That's his answer. So, like, I can right away bullshit. Cheerio.
He can never really answer questions. He kind of just says like, "I'm just here to provoke people to do research."
I was right back to Lewis anyway, because this guy's quite interesting. Right, Lewis, where the fuck did you come from? Why did you get into this flat Earth stuff, man? What attracted you to this corner of YouTube? This weird.
Well, when I was going through school myself, I had a number of the precise misunderstandings about the world around me that lead people to think the Earth is flat. It's a misunderstanding of electromagnetism, and it's a misunderstanding of gravity and forces in general, and the very subtle differences between things like momentum and inertia, an inability and a laziness when conceptualizing them in certain problems, like that exact type of thing.
But is it also not just a failing in logic?
Sure, yeah, it is a failure in logic, but it's a failure in the logic of those specific systems that we have employed in physics, and
because you shouldn't have to understand electromagnetism and all these fields.
Electromagnetism, yeah, you do. There's one specific reason for it, and it's because that's where most of the invisible forces that we notice in our lives come.
I know,
from.
But the ancient Greeks, like Eratosthenes, with it, like he figured out the Earth was spherical, but he didn't understand electromagnetism.
Right, and that's fine, that's great. But there's a tendency, and I fell for it when I was going through school when they taught us this in physics. We were learning about gravity and the force of gravity. And I wanted to connect that as an invisible force to the other invisible forces of electromagnetism. And fortunately for me, my teacher had encountered that problem enough times to convince me that that was not true. I forgot exactly how it happened, but it took several weeks and I failed several portions of tests because of it. Until they finally corrected that error in my thinking, and then I started getting like hundreds on my physics tests, and that was great.
But that's probably a more sophisticated part of physics, like the electromagnetic, like just the shape of the Earth. You know what I mean? It's
the want of the uneducated person, in my case, to conflate gravity with electromagnetism. And sure, they might be connected, but we haven't figured out how. So
that's what Mr. Grimm does too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Mr. Grimm is a perfect example of that.
And do you think that gets linked in with this ether as well, like the ether?
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, there is an intuitive reason for that so many unrelated people who've never met have the same exact type of attraction to these various theories. And it's because they have the same misunderstandings about physics that they learned in school. You know, if they hadn't gotten a conventional education, they would be using a whole different set of words to describe what's going on, and some of them probably would have a better understanding of the world around them, and it's because they didn't understand English, and that caused confusion when learning physics or some other amalgam of misconceptions. But yeah, the education system has problems, and they play out differently on each individual.
Well, I don't know what kind of school you went to, Louis, but I didn't get really taught about the deep sciences like electromagnetism. Like we kind of skimmed over it in high school, but it was nothing to a deep level to make you understand how the universe worked or anything. It was just like a brief class, and then the next kind of, it was like we'd spend maybe a few days on something like that, and then it would be the next sort of subject. What kind of school did you go to learn like the deeper
for
meaning?
High school, I went to a really big high school in Illinois. Before that, I was at small private schools pretty much the whole time. So my 8th grade graduating class was like 8 people, 2 of which were girls. And then my high school graduating class had like 4,000 people in it.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, 1,000. The totality of the school was 4,000.
Right. So would you say so would you say you've had a sort of high end education?
I think I've had a better education than a lot of people. That, or I just tried harder and got more out. That's also a possibility.
Do you sometimes feel persecuted for that? Just it's out of your hands, and
that's natural. It's expected.
So when somebody asks you a question like where were you educated, you feel like you're kind of on the back step sometimes, because it's like if you say you're like came from somewhere like Yale or something like that, or Stratford or kind of good.
Oh.
Like
if somebody asked me like that, then but that's never happened. Those people hardly ever. I don't know. I've never interacted with them very much, but certainly I've run into the attitude that people who are educated are bad, basically.
Because I get a feeling sometimes that like just because somebody comes in and knows the vocabulary, knows how to articulate themselves, and comes across as pretty educated, that you feel like that they're going to start calling you Illuminati and part of the media, and so you feel like sometimes you need to go down to their level. Like you need to like knock yourself down to the, I don't know what to say, peasants, but sometimes you need to get on their level. Sometimes you need to forget about maths, sometimes you need to forget about science even, and just think about it on a survival level.
Jed, he is part of the Illuminati.
How's that?
His family is.
How?
Apparently, okay.
His uncle.
What's his uncle, P?
I don't know if he wants people to know, but he's Illuminati. His family's Illuminati.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm serious. He is.
Well, what is he, like what was he, a judge of? Okay.
He's famous foreign official.
Famous foreign official. All foreign officials have their information listed publicly. That doesn't make him famous.
Well, he's not like, you wouldn't know his name famous, but like he's high up in government in a foreign country.
But P,
a lot of people don't like.
P, you said your father's part of the Freemasons.
Dude, this is different. His fucking uncle, his fucking relative was hanging out with Bill Clinton and shit.
But you said your dad was a Freemason.
Bill Clinton's a real person. He lives in the same world. A lot of people hang out with him.
And his relative was like hobnobbing him because he's Illuminati and shit.
So I take it like if there's any politicians, none of their kids or relatives that are younger can go into YouTube and talk about shit because they'd be accused of Illuminati. Is that it?
I guess so.
Because I heard P. Mars's dad was a Freemason, but I never classed P. Mars as
No,
being
he's
part of the
not.
Illuminati or raping children or any shit like
He was
that.
a Grand Master of the Knights of Columbus.
Exactly. Well, that's good
But
excuse.
that's like nothing. That's nothing. This
How-
guy's like a high-ranking official that was hobnobbing with Bill Clinton.
Oh my God, P. Man, what you trying to do? Expose him on my show. On my show, because this is a show.
He's
This is
fucking
this is just a
Illuminati.
show.
He's Illuminati.
This is a fucking show. Now, who's his uncle then?
For what it's worth, I like Shill Team 6 better because it's Saint 6.
Do you care if I say who your uncle is?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, it's. I won't say, but he's Illuminati.
He's Illuminati.
So what qualifies as Illuminati? Is it like if you're in government, that's it, you're Illuminati, or
Like Condoleezza Rice, shit like that.
all
You're
right?
putting him on the same level as Rice.
That's
No, I
heavy
mean, he's not
shit.
on the
That's
same
heavy
level as
shit.
Rice, but
Condoleezza Rice is heavy shit.
yeah, this guy's heavy shit. He's not. I mean, she's more famous than him, but
So you try to say
he's a
that
big
Louis could
person in government.
Louis could get us taken out by a drone strike.
I couldn't know.
No, I don't think, because he's just a relative. It's just a relative. So like, Lewis doesn't know shit,
Yeah.
So P. Mars, why do you think Louis here then? Do you think he's been sent in by his Illuminati uncle or some shit to fuck with us?
No, I don't think that. I mean, I don't know why he's here. I haven't really thought about that. I don't think Lewis knows anything about the Illuminati, really.
I have opinions about the Illuminati.
Yeah, I don't think. Okay.
So, I mean, I know enough to develop an opinion.
I think the Illuminati could be just another myth. I mean, it's just like I think.
No.
What's that?
No, I was just listening to Bill Cooper read from like a Rosicrucian book talking about how the Rosicrucian, like all the secret societies are connected, and they mentioned the Illuminati in this book.
I believe
Sounds like a book
I believe in all those
Rosicrucian.
secret societies, but do you just umbrella them under the Illuminati, or is there a certain group? That,
I think there was at one point a secret society called the Illuminati, the Bavarian Illuminati. I don't know if they still exist. I think the Illuminati now sort of means the powers that be, and not really referring to the Bavarian Illuminati. It's kind of got this umbrella term now.
because it was started by was it Weishaupt? Was it Weishaupt?
It's like
Adam Weishaupt.
yeah.
So it was started by him, and you try to say that all the secret societies branch off that one guy. When
Yeah, I think it's like
when you
a-
had the
it's a
Templars,
pyramid.
when you had the Knights Templars in that centuries before him.
Yeah, and the Knights Templars got their shit from the Arabs, the Hassan. That's where they got a lot of their like ideas for forming secret societies. So I think that was, and the mystery religions tie into it and shit. And then actually, yeah, it's like a pyramid structure where like all the societies are connected. Like all the intelligence agencies, like KGB, CIA, MI6, they're all connected. They're part of like secret societies and like Bonesman. All this shit, it's all connected, and only a few people like at the top of the pyramid. It's like a pyramid where like no one really knows shit. So like,
well, I'm just saying.
like
I think
my dad was a Grand Master. If you're a Grand Master of a lodge of Freemasonry, you don't know shit. You just go there and drink beer, and you make social connections, and you do funny rituals. You don't fucking know anything about. They don't tell people at the bottom of the pyramid shit.
well,
You know about G20?
yep.
Yeah, kind of. Not.
What, you think that's just a show?
But you speaking to me, Lou?
Well, P. Mars, like, see, like you're talking about all these secret societies that are connected. Like sounds like G20 to me.
Politics is like acting for ugly people.
acting for ugly people. So you think the real actors are the members of the Illuminati?
It was funny because I was
The real actors.
It was funny because
No,
I
I
was.
think like what? Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I was listening to one of these speakers. I can't remember her name. Her face is all over the place. Her mouth is like she speaks for the White House. She stands on the speaker stand. What's her name? She's got the dark hair and her mouth's all over the place. She's a weird looking.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking. She's taken the place of Sean Spicer,
Aye.
right?
Aye, and
Yeah.
oh, what was the point there, man? Oh, fuck. Sorry, guys. Sorry, P. On you go, mate. I forgot what the point was there, man. I was watching the other night and she reminded me. Oh, that was what I was going to say. The way she speaks and the way she addresses the crowd and the press. God, listen to some of these flat earthers get on Google. Like Cathexis or Anthony Riley. These people could speak their way a fucking... Oh, the way these people speak. Some of the, like that White House speaker, she couldn't even speak as well as some of these flat earthers. And sometimes I think this is just a way for people to hone their skills, like arguing with people so they can use it in real life.
Yeah, but I don't think most of the people in Flat Earth are like going out and interacting with people. So
no, well,
I actually think
it could be a replacement.
They would be better at arguing here now online.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can dodge it in their own mind, but they're not fooling somebody who's already convinced they're wrong. My opinion. I mean, maybe. I don't think they are. I don't think their sub counts keep going up, but I'm pretty sure that's all fake. I'm pretty sure they've got like there isn't 1,000 more people watching Dread now than there were last week. Like
no,
the sub count goes up by like 1,000 every week.
Well, I think there's a thing called The Purge on YouTube where if there's any fake subs, suddenly they get deleted. Every year they get deleted, these fake subs. If you buy subs and stuff, like I think there's an algorithm that goes up around YouTube every year and it just deletes all the fake accounts. And I think a lot of these flat earthers are saying, "Oh, I've got 100 missing subs," and it's like, well, maybe that's what's happened. It's like they've recognised that you've got fake subs. Like because Eric DeBay's got 100,000 subs, and you're lucky if he gets like 2,000-3,000 views a video. I didn't get that.
I think it's quite likely that a character like IPS organized people through email and other non-public channels to create massive amounts of soccer accounts and inflate the numbers. I think it's entirely likely that he's done that with people whose voices he likes, and maybe.
Right, that's a good point, right? IPS, right, Lou. I reckon IPS is one of the smartest guys in this corner of the YouTube right now. What do you think? What do you think this guy's game is?
I kind of want to say right off the cuff that he's smarter than myself, obviously, because he's more successful, and if I were smarter, why wouldn't I be more successful? So there's that sort of thing right there that hits you in the face.
Successful at what though? What is it like?
Making his voice heard. That's literally it.
But were you trying? Were you trying to be heard?
Not very well, obviously, and
because he's got a drive. It's something that you can't have, like just being a kind of bit part player. If
he does have a drive I don't have.
It's like, and I kind of admire that drive for some reason. I do.
Right. That is the admirable. Yeah, definitely.
Well, what do you think his whole game is? He doesn't believe in flat Earth, does he?
No, there's no way. There's no fucking way.
No.
I don't understand the guy. I don't get it.
I think he's for the
marketing, right? He just saw a market that needed people wanted to pay money for something. He gave them a service, I think.
Well, I think that's
such an obscure service, though.
It is an obscure service. Like, why would
you could be so right about that, though? Like, it could. That
like It's like the people that want to like call the psychic hotline and hear bullshit over the phone, and they pay like $9.99 a minute.
There are people
So
who pay
people-
$9.99 a minute. That's pretty good money.
Have you seen IPS's stalker, this Flat Earth Reset guy, Lou?
No.
Have you not? He's made quite a few videos against IPS. It's hilarious, but this guy's getting under the skin of IPS. Something that like me, P, Tim Osmond couldn't really do. Like this guy's had IPS stand in front of the mirror in his boxer shorts just to prove that he's a guy.
Somebody had IPS do that?
Well, the guy hounded IPS, calling him a tranny and saying that he could be a woman and all that. So IPS made a video where he's standing in front of the mirror in his boxer shorts, saying, "Look," and you could obviously see his balls and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, man. And what's the mentality behind that?
Yeah. So there's definitely something not quite right with him.
Aye, or is
like I don't know that or this guy was just so good at hounding him. But I mean, like, why wouldn't you just ignore?
Exactly. Like you need to go back.
That guy's trolling. That's a pretty good troll. Like, I don't know what's up with Pete Shea, but Pete Shea got like two grown ass men to take off their shirts on Jamie Brown's panel. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I was lurking, man. I was lurking, and I seen Twitwit, and I like going, "I am FaZe. You get your top off too." I was like, oh my god, man, what's this turning into?
There's so much sexual tension in the flat earth.
I think there is. But I was going to try and share that video. IPS standing in his boxer shorts, man. It's called "This Is For My Stalkers," and he's standing. I swear you can see his balls and shit, man. It's like we ken you're a dude, man. Why?
No one's seriously doubting that you have male genitals.
I didn't understand that one. Why he would pull that one? Oh, here's Orphan Red.
Now that I see you standing there in your boxer shorts, I'm beginning to doubt whether they work.
How you doing, Orphan Red? Is that you? Is that a fake account?
It is me. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Perfect.
Did
Hello,
you
everyone.
Did
I
you?
just thought I'd join in. I hope that's okay.
That's fine. Sorry I've not got the video on. It's because I've turned video off in case anyone, because I've dropped the link in chat and anyone can join. I don't want anyone putting any like porn or anything on. So sorry that you can't see anybody. It's just
Oh no, that makes sense.
Right. Orphan, did you see IPS in his undies?
I started to see it. I just had to turn it off. That's just not my thing.
But like me and Lou were just saying that the guy's really smart, probably one of the smartest guys in the scene right now, and he's resorting to this towards the trolls. Like he's really getting.
See, here's the thing with smartness. It's easy to mistake education for intelligence.
Uh-huh.
And also, he's very well trained in manipulation tactics, right?
Yep.
He's done the whole sales funnel, e-marketing schemes. You know those like tutorials for how to make money online?
Yep.
And you have to pay to watch the tutorials. And so it's all about manipulating people to give you money. And he's done a lot of those, that kind of training, I think. So I'm actually not sure if he's as smart as he comes off as. I don't know. I'm reserving judgment.
I think yes, because
like you said, like when he's prancing around in his underwear, it makes me think, okay, well, there are other factors to take into account when you're evaluating his IQ. But he does come off as intelligent, and that is giving him a following. And I think that you can't argue with. Yeah, he's being super effective.
Was that Lou? Continue, mate.
No, I was just concurring. I think he's effective.
I thought he's too smart to fall for the trolls to stand there in his undies because he's affected. I think that was maybe a tactic, like Orphan said. He's good at manipulation. This might be
Has he
just for the
gotten
women.
laid
This might be just for the
because-
women.
That's sex magic.
Sex magic, exactly, man.
He's making mad cash, and I think that by doing that, it invites a response, right? It invites response videos. People are talking about it, and then he comes off, like Jed was saying earlier, as the victim. And so then his fans, because he doesn't have subscribers and followers, he has fans. His fans then feel bad for him, so they give him more money. That's what I think.
I think you could be right there. It seems to be working.
Yeah, he's making mad cash.
So what do you think about this? He's got this problem with this new guy, Flat Earth Reset, and he's going to make a GoFundMe to get a lawyer to try and shut this guy down.
Well, he always has a GoFundMe going for something, right? And so it doesn't matter if the court case actually goes anywhere. He still pockets the money. So I think it's just brilliant marketing. And the people in the flat Earth community, there is a certain portion of people who are disenfranchised and angry with the system because it hasn't served them well.
Yeah.
And so anything that you might do to fuck the system, they're on board. And so to sue someone who's making fun of you, I could see them getting excited about that because they're being made fun of for being flat earthers. And so the idea of like, let's stick it back to the people that are making fun of us, I can see them giving him money based on that alone. So like you said, Jed, it's clever if you look at it that way.
It's genius.
He's a genius moneymaker. I think he's immoral, but he's making a lot of money from it.
Yep.
Well, he used to come into Tim Osmond's hangout chats and brag about how, all the money he made the night before. He'd be like, I sold 20 maps and made $50 or whatever.
Oh, he's making $4,000 to $5,000 a month.
45,000 a month.
No, 4,000 to 5,000. Like he's bringing in about 4,000 to 5,000 a month. So like if he's making if he's projecting to make $60,000 this year off of flat Earth.
He's done well. He's done well, really, when you think about it that way.
There's got to be another market he can tap into.
Because who would have thought you could make that much of flat Earth? Like a couple of years ago.
Well, see, that's why it's so brilliant, though, and that's why I can tell he's had an experience in internet e-marketing, because one of the things they teach you is find a community that's large enough that there's money to be made in it, but it's small enough that you can get to the top of that community with a little bit of hard work. And that's what he's done. He's come into this small flat Earth community, and within a month, everybody knew his name. And now he's a leader of the flat Earth community. He's only been in it for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thing. He picked a topic community. That's what they call it, a topic community. And you pick a topic community that's large enough that you can make $4,000 a month, but it's small enough that you can be a flat Earth leader within a few months of joining.
Yeah.
If you ever actually talk to him about the subjects, he has very limited knowledge on a lot of the shit he's talking about. That's why, like, I guess he repeats himself a lot. Plus, that's a good technique, rhetoric, and getting a following too, is being repetitive.
Yes.
And he like does the dehumanization of groups with. He always talks shits about Christians and communists. So he's got that too, which is a sign that it's propaganda.
Odd collection of groups to make fun of or to demonize, but very expansive. Covers a lot of people.
So Orphan Red, I've seen your latest video. It's about the eclipse shadow.
Oh yeah.
So I take it you're in agreement that it works on a spherical Earth.
Oh yes, of course it does. Yes, it does.
And I think that's a good, safe move, because when it does happen, you won't get all these videos coming out saying, told you so, you're wrong, you're wrong. Like, if you make your bed now, you can lie in it later, sort of thing.
Oh, come on, no, Jed. You have to be more fair than that. You have to be more fair to me. I'm not the one. I don't put out BS and try to pass it off as real. Either I put out playful videos that are just to engage people's critical thinking, asking questions, or I put out a video saying, look, these are the questions I've asked myself. These are the conclusions I've come to. What do you think? But in none of my videos am I telling people, look, you can prove the flat Earth by going up in a balloon and looking out, right? So you have to be fair to me. When I saw people in the flat Earth saying that the eclipse proved that the Earth was flat, first of all, I saw it on Facebook, so I replied to those people saying, no, that's not true. And then when I realized that there's just so many people that were misunderstanding, I made the little video. But it's not to cover my own ass. It's not to pretend that then when it happens, I can say, oh, look.
No, it shows you've got an understanding. It shows that you've got an understanding of. It is quite a complex. I watched a video where it was showing you NASA scientists trying to explain it, and they were finding it hard. I think it was on Jeranism, and they were finding it hard. And I think it was the last guy that actually could explain it properly. So
I think I did a better job, did I not?
I mean, it's one thing to know something for yourself, but being able to communicate that to somebody else in a way that they will understand, like that's an entirely different thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, like,
and it's also hard. It's hard to know your audience as well. Like, that's one of the things I find really hard to do with my channel is what's my target audience? Is it the people that have no background in science? And so then how do I communicate an idea to them? Or is my target audience the people who have a solid background in science, and then I can make things more complicated, but then it's a different audience, right? So I think that's the hardest part of all. So my little animation video, I wanted that to be really clear and simple for anyone. It doesn't matter what educational background you have. You can look at this little animation and kind of get a sense of what's going on. That was my goal.
But you're obviously a smart girl, a woman, sorry, Orphan. But you carry this other character with you, and it's like it's hard to take your science seriously when you carry the persona that comes with this Orphan Red character. It's always been hard for me to take you seriously. Like, and I know you're a smart girl, so it's just weird. It's like this sort of contradiction, and that's how I know it's not the real you, because it's just so off. Is there any I don't want to change who you are, but is there any way you can to get people really taking you seriously, or like seriously your intelligence seriously instead of just like your feminine attributes?
Your personal problem, Jed.
Pardon?
No,
Maybe it is just a personal thing.
No, Dad, you're saying to me what a lot of people have said to me, and I think it's a criticism that I take, but you have to understand that I am coming at this from a more artistic approach, maybe. So,
Right, okay, that's fair enough. If artistic, as soon as you say artistic, well, fair enough.
No, hear me out though. My whole point. Oh, am I still there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
My whole point in doing the character that I do, in wearing the princess dress, in putting on the ponytails, the whole point of that is to communicate to you that my belief system, my morality, my value is that information should be evaluated on its own merits. You should not think something is true because a priest told you, or because a man wearing a science coat told you, or because someone with a deep voice and a tall person who seems authoritative told you, or your favorite actor on TV told you. It shouldn't matter on whether or not information is true that I'm wearing a princess dress. If you use my princess dress and my ponytails and my really bizarre voice to help you judge whether what I'm saying is true or not, well, that's just bloody stupid. That's the most unscientific thing you could possibly do. That's the most illogical thing. And that's the point I'm trying to get across, is that if you're truly scientific, if you're truly concerned about science, science doesn't allow for judging the truth of information on attributes of the person telling you the information. It's about, is the thing that you're telling me, is it coherent? Is it logically consistent? Is it based on assumptions that I can accept as true or that I can establish for myself? It doesn't matter if you have ponytails in your hair, or if you have a bun, or if I'm wearing a princess dress, or if I'm wearing a suit. That should be irrelevant, but in our society, it's not irrelevant.
But
We
sorry,
accept what
sorry,
people
Orphan.
tell us based on these stupidities, and that was what I was trying to do with my channel. I was trying to say, look, if you think the fact that I'm wearing a princess dress and sitting on my bed undermines the truth that I'm telling you, then your system of evaluating truth is broken. As a society, it's broken. That was the whole point of Orphan.
And that's a fair enough point, and I do understand, but you've got to think at a human level. Like most humans, kind of judge. And you've got to you get like the way you think. Fair enough, you're intelligent and you think on that higher level, but you've got to remember the rest of the world. I don't want to be harsh, but the rest of us are quite stupid, and we see like if Marlon, like what's his name? Is it Marlon or Manson? Can whatever his name is sits in front of me with a swastika on his forehead. It doesn't matter how much truth he tells me. This fucker's sitting in front of me with a swastika tattooed on his forehead, and I'm judging him about that. It doesn't matter what comes out his mouth, and it's just a human thing, like to judge on certain aspects of a person as well as the information. It's the same with Hitler. Like it's like Hitler, a lot of shit he could have said was good, but like you couldn't ignore his extremist. Like you can ignore the persona he was as well, the character he was. Like it's like, and you can say, oh, but you. I know it's like rise above, but the normal person, the day-to-day person judges things on first, like natural instincts, like visually and then how they feel when they see something, and then they start processing the information. I think this information that you deliver is secondary to what they see when they first see you, because you've got obviously like the appearance of yourself, like sitting on a bed with the dress on, is quite distracting for the information you're trying to deliver. So and that's just natural for humans to be like that. Sorry, Pete.
Judge Hillbilly from all the feces he's surrounded in.
Well, but what's the message I'm trying to get across? I'm not trying to get the message across that the earth is flat. I'm trying to get the message across that there's a problem in how we evaluate information, and some of the things that we think are true are in fact not true. Mm-hmm. And the reason that we believe them at a societal level is precisely because our system of determining between belief and knowledge is broken. Mm-hmm. And that's the message that to me is more important. My message isn't the earth is flat and you need to believe it. My message is, look, the globe earth model has a lot of holes in it. The standard cosmological model has a lot of logical inconsistencies. And that has impacts on other levels of society. When you don't know the difference between truth and belief, then society starts to break down a little bit because people have different beliefs and there's no way of bridging that. If you can figure out how to establish what's true, then there's a way to on that truth. But if there's no more truth anymore, if all there are different beliefs, then there's no way to negotiate that. There's no, right? And so to me, that's a fundamental truth that I'm trying to communicate. That's
one of the things
I've flat earth, of course. Yeah.
I've mentioned that before as well. But it's one of the things that, like, even though I don't agree that the Earth's flat, I still think it's important that people question where they get their information and just don't take it on face value and do their own, like, get their own experience. That's how you gain knowledge, and you need to know the difference between just believing what someone told you and actually experiencing and having knowledge over something. And I've always pushed that, but I don't think there's a problem with the heliocentric model. I think there's a problem with how this is taught. How this logic is taught. Like, you can't just take everything face value, even if it is true, to an extent.
That's the thing. Most people who believe in the globe model, most people who attack flat earthers, number one, they don't even know why it's true. The reasons they think it's true are not actually valid reasons. Yeah. And to be honest, like, I actually do reject the globe model because I've spent my time researching it, and I do reject it. It's not the right model. And so, but that's secondary for our conversation, right? Basically, my point here with you is to say, regardless of the shape of the Earth, most people who believe the Earth is a globe, they don't know it. They don't understand the reasons, the physics, the math. They don't even conceptually. Their belief that the Earth is a globe is based on wrong understandings, wrong assumptions. Like, it's just so that it's not truth. It's just a belief, and yet they're so convinced that it's right that they'll attack the flat Earth community. And if you're really interested in science, you should celebrate the fact that there are people who are saying, I'm not going to accept this just because you say it's true. I want to do an experiment. I want to figure it out for myself. I want to investigate.
I thought that was cool at the beginning of this. At the beginning of Flat Earth, I thought this was what it was all about. Like, people question it, and people go out and doing experiments and stuff like that. But it hasn't turned into that. It's people question it, then people doing experiments, then people just denying and spending weeks and weeks on Hangouts denying, like, certain evidence, like that. Soundly's recent imagery, like Soundly.
Which?
Soundly. He has a.
I don't know his channel.
Oh, he's getting everyone talking right now because he's got images of these pylons going over a river, Pontchartrain River. And
yeah, Pontchartrain. Yeah.
Yep, and it shows curve and I've heard flat earthers just coming out saying it's CG because they can't explain it.
But there are people on both sides. There are people in the flat Earth community that believe flat Earth without really having valid reasons for why they believe it. In the same way that there are people that believe it's a globe without valid reason, right? There are sheep in every community. But like the Pontchartrain Lake thing, I watched your video, and unfortunately, and I'm not saying that the Earth is flat or a globe, but that particular example, it doesn't prove curvature. It's actually an optical illusion, and it has to do with, like, I don't really want to get into it because it's complicated and boring, and it's not really relevant. But the point is that that's a perfect example.
You were going to say refraction there, though, eh? It's got to do with refraction.
No, it's not refraction. It has to do with the logarithmic relationship between size and distance. So when you're looking at things that are not super far, and then you can use a linear relationship, right? You can say, let's say, oh, it gets twice as small for every unit of distance, right? And you can use that in your everyday life, and it's close enough for things that are close enough to you that's just that breakdown, because it's not a linear relationship. It's not for every unit of measure, then it's one change in the unit of size, right? It's logarithmic, so it's maybe to the power of something. So that gives you this optical illusion of this curvature. And like I said, like if the curvature that you see in those power lines or those power stations, if that was not an optical illusion, then the Earth would be smaller than the moon. You'd be standing on an itty-bitty Earth that was such a tiny diameter.
I know, but a couple of months before, Matrix Decode had a video where he showed 3 ships practically in a line, and you could see there was one way behind the curve. You just see the top of the ship. You could see one that was kind of half hidden, and then you could see one that was like in the foreground. And
yeah, but the midground of your visual image actually will occlude the further away background ground. So, like, I don't want to argue these little details. I mean, I can if that's entertaining for people. But see, that's the thing. Like, for me, this kind of stuff, I can argue it if you want me to. But, like, I just find that boring because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to things that we're going to have to do a mathematical calculation, and so people who don't really grasp math aren't going to know which one is right or wrong.
You're saying that, but most flat earthers just say maths is a language made up by the Illuminati just to fool everyone.
Yeah, but I don't say that.
but most, like I've heard, like when you try and use math when you're using an argument, most flat earthers will say that, oh, but that's just a language. It's not real. It's just a language to try and describe reality. But that's Illuminati placed that there.
Yeah, but most Americans think that, you know, Barbara Bush is George Bush's mother. Like, most people think a lot of different things. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be too concerned about that, right? Like, most people have a lot of crazy beliefs,
but this what makes me actually not believe the flat earth even more, because we come across people like you who wants to use math and you believe the earth's flat, but you'll argue certain like things about the curve, but then you'll move to the next flat earther, they'll have a totally different argument from you, but they'll still believe the earth's flat. Then you go to the next flat earther, they'll believe it's an infinite plane, and they'll have their own version. And it seems like every flat earther has their own version of flat earth, where if you go to any person that believes in the globe earth, it's just the same as the next person that believes in the globe earth.
Yeah, but you don't believe that, like, that ions in the thermosphere function the way they do in terms of how they affect temperature measured, or the gravity, how they respond to gravity. You don't believe that in the same way that Neil deGrasse Tyson does, because you've explored it and assessed it and you've come to the same conclusion. The reason your model is the same as his is because you've accepted his model as true. It's not because you've investigated it and thought about, okay, does it make sense to think that ions in a vault, how do we measure temperature? We measure temperature by the amount of...
No, but it's the shape of the earth. I'm saying that the general, just the shape of the earth. It doesn't matter about atmospheric conditions and stuff like that. We could argue that all day long, but like me to the next guy, we'll agree that the earth's a ball.
Okay,
just that. Okay. Never mind ions in the atmosphere.
Can you show me a graviton? No, you can't. But you believe that there are gravitons and that they transmit the force of gravity, because that's the common standard model. So you don't have a different theory of gravity, because you just accept that there are gravitons. You've never seen one. You don't know anything about them. You don't really know how they transmit gravity. But say that that's true, because that's the standard model. So that's why the standard model is consistent, not because every single person has gone and looked at it and tried to figure it out for themselves and come to their conclusions that are biased by their experience, biased by their knowledge levels, biased by their education. That's what you're seeing in the flat earth.
But it's the same. But it's kind of the same with light. It's like light. We can't see light.
Hypothetical thing. That's not something that like science pushes as a truth. But we do know as a truth that mass attracts mass to the center of mass.
You need to have a particle to transmit the force. Otherwise, you have problems applying quantum physics. So you can describe things using curvature in space-time, but only at the macro level. But when you get to the molecular level, when you get to the level of the atoms and smaller, you can't use curvature of space-time to explain the effects of gravity. So when you get to that level, you're required to use hypothetical gravitons. But like you said, they're hypothetical because they haven't been proven, they haven't been found. They've spent billions of dollars trying to detect them, and they've failed to do so. They've spent 15 years trying to detect them, and they failed. Well, not 15, but so that's the point. People accept, even though it's not rational to accept that as a truth. It's acceptable to say, I believe it because smart people have told me that, and I'm just going to accept that. But it's not rational to say that you know that that's true.
Not saying you know it, but to say you believe it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a belief system that you have.
But we know that mass attracts mass. Like, no one's saying that we know gravitons exist. We're saying we know, like, mass attracts mass. Like, there's things about
there are problems with the whole mass attracts mass, though, because when we look at the galaxies through our telescopes, we find that they actually spin on the outer edges. They spin faster than they should if mass attracts mass, using the calculations that we've used. So in order to account for that, we say, well, mass attracts mass, except doesn't actually attract mass the way we understand it to on the outer edges of galaxies. So what do we do about that? Well, how about let's just invent there must be some dark thing that we can't detect, and so we'll just say it must be this undetectable stuff that's interfering. But then at first it was like, okay, well, that's okay, because eventually we'll figure out what that invisible stuff is. But then they realized that there are so many problems with gravity that this undetectable stuff, in order for that to work, for gravity to work the way you believe it does, 95 to 97% of the universe has to be made up of that invisible, undetectable stuff. Now,
I feel like you're grasping at straws. Like,
Oh, the dark matter. That's
gravity
the.
is pretty solid. Like,
no,
you're
it's
kind of
not.
ridiculous.
That's not true. Dark matter and dark energy are invoked in order to cover up the problems with gravity. The problem is you have what? Let me guess. You have first year physics? Or do you only have high school physics?
No, I don't know fucking shit about physics, but
Right,
I know
okay.
that you
So
don't know
then
what I'm
you-
talking about.
Of course I do. How do you know?
You
Okay, how?
don't. You're
Based on
totally
what?
being deceptive and grasping at straws, and
Based
like
on
the
what?
fact that
What have I said that's
Because
not
I'm
correct?
not
What have I
with
said
it.
that's not
look,
scientifically
you're
supported?
grasping onto straws like dark matter and dark energy, and the fact that we don't know technically what gravity is to act like there's anomalies and shit we can't explain. When the fact is, mass attracts mass, center of
That's
mass,
not
pretty
true.
solid
That's not,
shit.
it's not solid shit. That's not true. If you spin if you take a semiconductor, a ceramic semiconductor disc, and you spin it at 5,400 RPM, it annuls the gravitational effects on objects placed above that. That's been known for about 15 years now. So that's a perfect example of mass does not attract mass. That's not an absolute statement.
So what do you think about Fackel's pendulum and things like that then?
Well, I did my research on Foucault's pendulum actually quite a few years ago because I read Umberto Eco's book
Oh, that's
called Foucault's
Cavendish.
Pendulum, which it's all about religious sects and cults, and it's fascinating. And it has very little to do with Foucault's pendulum, but it's a part of the book, and so I was young, and so I was just really curious, and I read up about them. And here's the interesting thing with Foucault's pendulums. They actually have to be recalibrated and reset, and most public institutions that have one or universities that have them, they have to use motors or magnets, and they have to reset them regularly because in fact they don't work. And so the Foucault and they're open about this. Like if you look on the various websites, the Smithsonian has a website. They have a few paragraphs about their own, and they'll admit that. Like it's not a secret.
Sorry, I think I got mixed up there. The Fackel was to detect the spin. Was it the Cavendish that was the mass? Attracts
Cavendish is
mass.
gravity, right? But his experiment, they've been unable to replicate it. And also, it's not really.
What the
There's
hell
no-
am I listening to? They've been unable to replicate Cavendish? Are
I
you
thought I've seen
serious?
quite a few YouTube videos on
The
replicating.
Cavendish experiment itself was replicated every day for a year. What
Show
the hell are
me.
you talking about?
The Cavendish experiment was the shed. And
Yeah, it was done every day for a year, replicated. It's repeatable, testable science.
You're not understanding what replicatable means in the scientific context. One person taking measurements every day and then coming to a conclusion based on the data that they collected over the course of a year, that's one experiment. That's not a replication. You would need a different individual doing the experiment themselves, taking the measurements over the course of a year, looking at the data, doing a statistical analysis.
People have done
One
it.
guy, no, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
That's
I
the
have
thing.
an
You're
example of it.
assuming.
What?
Show me the replication of the Cavendish experiment. I'd
I have
love
like
to see it.
I have a replication, but it's not like exact because it's not.
If
It's
it's
not.
not exact, it's not a replication.
That's not fair.
Okay, show me. What's the experiment? What is it? Who did it?
Okay, give me a second here.
What's the journal?
The thing is, things like gravitons and things like that, fair enough, and
Dude,
dark
it's a
matter.
simple experiment. What you said is an outright lie. I can't believe you're saying this bullshit.
Show me the experiment. Show me. If I'm lying, then show me. If I'm wrong, then I want to learn. I'm open to being wrong. If I'm wrong about this, then I you giving me truth, because then I'll have more knowledge about the world I live in. That's valuable to me. But here's the more important aspect, and this is where I find the Globers, and Jed, this is where I feel like sometimes you slip into, and I worry about you for it, is that the people that defend the globe model occasionally fall into this trap of saying, look, here's this experiment, and the result of it is that this number comes out. Therefore, gravitons exist. Therefore, space-time curves. Therefore, there's dark matter making the outer edges of galaxies spin faster. You can't.
I've never once claimed gravitons exist or space-time bends, and the only thing I've really argued for in this arena is the curve, the shape. The shape of the Earth. When it comes to things like that, Orphan, there is a lot of speculation and there is a lot of hypotheses, and we're just kind of accepting the closest ones, the closest scientific theories, because there is difference between a theory and a scientific theory. We're just a layman. We're just accepting kind of the closest one. And you're right, kind of gravitons have never been detected, but we can obviously see the effects of gravity, just like we can see the effects of light. We can't see light.
Of course.
Experiment here shows mass attracting mass.
Mm-hmm. What is it showing?
Mass attracting mass.
Okay, first of all, that's not actually, that's not showing mass attracting mass. That's not showing mass attracting mass, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, well, no, because there's no data there to show me what metal the balls are made of. So what are the electrostatic effects?
This is what I heard as well. I knew this was coming, Orphan. I knew it was coming because this is what I've heard before.
The electrostatic effects are taken into account. As you see, the two small balls are surrounded by a metal that is electromagnetic. So that will take out electromagnetic shit out of the equation. This was done by an
what do you think this is showing you?
Two small balls are being attracted to the two larger balls.
By what mechanism are they being attracted?
Gravity.
Inertia.
No. That's gravity is the name of the thing you're trying to explain. So I don't want to know the label of the thing you're trying to explain. I want to know the mechanism. By what mechanism are those little balls moving towards the bigger balls? What's the mechanism? Because if you're saying gravity...
You said this shit hasn't been replicated, and I'm just showing it to you.
That's not a replication of the Cavendish experiment.
You're a liar. And you're taking things that science admits they don't know about and trying to make it out like they're an anomaly because you're being deceptive.
How do you know that there isn't a magnet in that? How do you know that this is a valid experiment? Where's the peer review? What academic vouches for this? What science? No, but this is what I'm saying. You don't even know who did this. You found
this. Yes, I do. There's a paper about it.
What's the scientist's name? What's the university? To me, this doesn't look like a university.
I can get all that information to you, but I don't
get the information. Send it to me, because the fact that this.
Because you obviously don't do any research, and you sit here and you try and deceive people about science. Like, what
you're not doing
Google
research.
Searches can show that you're an idiot.
You're not doing research. You're Googling videos that aren't peer reviewed, that have no instant academic backing. That there's no actual scientist that said this was conducted in a
ladies and gentlemen,
valid way.
A bunch of liars.
Right, guys.
I'm not a liar. That's slander. I'm not. Tell me what I've said is true.
Right, guys, it's been great having you, and I'm going to cut this short because it's 4:15 a.m. for me. It's all right, guys, but
calling me a liar doesn't, how does that move the conversation forward? Tell me why I'm wrong. Don't just say you're a liar because you don't accept my shitty video of somebody's garage. Like, if you can show me why I'm wrong, that's a conversation worth having. But if you're just saying, I found this video in some guy's garage where these balls are doing what they're supposed to do, and that means that gravity is what it is. I don't see the value in that.
And I can see where you're coming from, but that's not the only argument. Like, that's just an element. That's just like a tiny part of this whole flat Earth argument. Like, we could argue about the curves and the other experiments. But But it is. It's another. It's just another. It's another branch in the flat Earth tree that gets squabbled about. And I've heard your argument. I've heard both sides. I've heard P. Mars's and I've heard your side, and I've heard it over and over for the past 2 years, and it just seems to be. It seems to verge away from the shape. Like, is this not just to prove is it a ball or flat? And we seem to be arguing about dark matter and gravity and
because
things like.
I'm not arguing about the shape of the ball. I don't care really. It's not to me. I don't care if you think it's a ball.
Questioning
to me, what I
science
care about is that as a member of the global society to which we both belong, I care about whether the people around me, people like you, people like whatever his name is that I was just arguing with, I care about whether you have a system of establishing the difference between belief and knowledge. Because if you guys are just believing whatever you've been convincingly indoctrinated with, and you don't, and you're mistaking that belief as truth, then I believe that causes a lot of problems in society, and I think that has brought. And
you're kind of right. Like these experiments, I just believe them. I don't know them. I just believe them. But when I done my experiments with the moon phases, and when I filmed the lunar eclipse, I actually gained knowledge because I experienced the actual eclipse. So I gained knowledge through that. So to me, that's firsthand. There's different levels of evidence. There's like first-hand evidence, like your first-hand observations. Then there's the secondary stuff, like the experiments you find online. And really, like you're saying, you can only really believe in that stuff. You can only really know through experience. And you're right. You're totally right on that. But
and so don't you think it's valuable that you did those experiments, not for the conclusion that you came to, but for the fact that now you have a greater sense of knowing that
knowledge.
What you believe about the Earth is true, that you've done your own experiment, isn't that
empowering? It's empowering. It's empowering, especially, and when you feel that empowerment and you try and share it, it's like I'm not telling people that the Earth's a ball. I'm telling people go out and test it yourself and feel the knowledge rather than just taking all these, even the flat Earth, just taking it. Like just taking what journalism, Globebusters, NASA.
That's why I watch your show, because I feel like you're more about the knowledge than about the conclusion. And I think if everyone was more concerned with doing their own explorations, and it's not even it, but being curious and wanting to know more about the world, I think if everyone was more curious, I think things would be better. People would be less stupid, and I think stupid people are causing problems.
Yep.
That's why I come to your channel, even though you're not a flat earther. That's why I contribute to your chat. I think what you're doing has value, and
I appreciate the support, Orphan. It's good of you, and I'd love to carry on this conversation, but like I said earlier, I've got to cut it short. It's like coming up for 4:30 in the morning. I think my baby's going to be getting up soon. So, But this was an experiment because I just dropped the link in chat and I didn't have the video on, so I wasn't expecting any snipes or anything. But this was me just experimenting to try to get an open platform so anyone can join. There's not going to be any moderators next time I do it either. So hopefully you'll come back.
I'm sorry I got a little bit. I will. I'd love to. I got a little bit carried away. I'm so. I get.
No. You were fine. You composed yourself well. I think P Mars gets sometimes a bit. He gets a bit emotional sometimes. He's been criticised of that in the past, but he'll learn. He'll learn. Thanks for coming on.
I wanted to say, congrats on the new baby, and I hope she's. It's a he or a she?
It's a she. We called her Alexis.
Oh, I hope she's doing well.
She's great. She's great. Right, thanks for coming, and thanks everybody in the chat. It was good having you.
Everyone.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Her mouth is like visible. How you getting on your anything, man? What happened?
I don't know. It was
like that, and it kind of happened, but eventually, within a couple of days, they would see the light. But I think some people stay in that state
or something with his lungs, where his lungs will be scarring over.
As soon as you ask him about a clip,
Perfect example of that.
Yes, he is.
well, what is he like? What was he? A judge?
He's famous foreign official.
Famous foreign official.
It was funny because
Real actors.
it was funny because I was.
Sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say that I was listening to one of these speakers. I can't even remember her name. Her face is all over the place. Her mouth is like she speaks for the White House. She stands on the speaker stand. What's her name? She's got the dark hair and her mouth all over the place. She's a weird looking.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking. She's taken the place of Sean Spicer, right?
Aye. And what was the point there, man? Sorry, guys. Sorry, P. On you go, mate. I forgot what the point was there, man. I was watching the other night and she reminded me of. Oh, that was what I was going to say. The way she speaks and the way she addresses the crowd and the press. God, listen to some of these flat earthers get on Google. Like Cathexis or Anthony Riley. These people could speak their way a fucking. The way these people speak. Somebody like that White House speaker, she couldn't even speak as well as some of these flat earthers. And sometimes I think this is just a way for people to hone their skills, like arguing with people, so they can use it in real life.
Yeah, but I don't think most of the people in Flat Earth are like going out and interacting with people.
Like Cathexis or Anthony. To listen to some of these flat earthers get on Google. Like Cathexis or Anthony Riley. These people could speak their way a fucking. I reckon
It's like the people that want to like call the second hotline and have bullshit on the phone. Like they're like, no.
There are people who can make $9.99 a minute. That's pretty good money.
Have you seen IPS's stalker, this flat earth reset guy?
No.
Have you know? He's made quite a few videos against IPS. It's hilarious, but this guy's getting under the skin of IPS. Something that like me, P, Tim Osmond couldn't really do. Like this guy's had IPS stand in front of the mirror in his boxer shorts just to prove that he's a guy.
Somebody had IPS do that?
Well, the guy hounded IPS, calling him a tranny and saying that he could be a woman and all that. So IPS made a video where he's standing in front of the mirror in his boxer shorts, saying, "Look," and you could obviously see his balls and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus, man. And what's the mentality behind that?
Yeah. So there's definitely something not quite right with him.
Aye. Or is
like, that or this guy was just so good at hounding him. But I mean, like, why wouldn't you just ignore?
Exactly. Like you need to go.
That guy's trolling. That's a pretty good troll. Like, I don't know what's up with Pete Shea, but Pete Shea got like two grown ass men to take off their shirts on Jamie Brown's panel.
Yeah, I was lurking, man. And I seen Twitwit and all that going, "I am FaZe, you get your top off."